Roman warriors, shadows at dusk. Across the desolate plains of ancient Gaul, lands that had witnessed countless brutal battles between barbarian tribes and the Roman Empire, there stood a small but formidable force known as Aquila Noctis, the Night Eagle. Under the command of Centurion Marcus Valerius, a battle-hardened warrior with dozens of scars etched across his body, they were not a vast legion, but each man among them was a living weapon. They fought not only for the glory of Rome, but for the oath of honor carved into both their shields and their hearts. Marcus once said, "Nothing stands higher than honor, and nothing runs deeper than loyalty." One day the unit was ordered to march toward the northern frontier, where rumors spoke of a coming invasion, a united force of Celtic tribes preparing to surge across the border. Rather than wait for reinforcements, Marcus made a bold decision. He led his men deep into the forest, where even sunlight dared not pierce the thick canopy. That night, in the heavy fog, the enemy struck. Horns echoed through the woods, and spears rained down from all directions. Yet Aquila Noctis did not falter. They had been forged in fire and blood. Using the legendary testudo formation, the ironclad turtle, the Romans defended, then counterattacked like a serpent made of steel, come alive in the shadows. Marcus led from the front, his gladius, short sword, carving red arcs through green leaves. His eyes burned, not with rage, but with a fierce resolve to protect the brothers at his back. When dawn finally broke, the survivors stood weary, yet unbowed among the fallen. They had held the line, and from that day on, the name Aquila Noctis was etched into the memory of both Rome and her enemies. Part 2, the call from the Mediterranean. After the blood-soaked battle, Marcus Valerius and the surviving warriors returned to a frontier outpost near the Rhine River. Of the nearly 100 who had departed, only 37 returned. They spoke little. Only the heavy sound of footsteps echoed, and eyes looked toward the horizon, as if searching for what was lost in the shadows. Back in Rome, news of the victory spread. But instead of honor, the Senate remained silent. Some noblemen claimed that Marcus had exceeded his authority, marching without official orders, and should stand trial. When a messenger on a white horse arrived at the camp, Marcus received the decree: "Return to Rome, surrender your weapons, present yourself before the council." The soldiers were outraged. They had fought to the end. Their blood soaked the earth, and now they were being questioned. But Marcus calmly said, "We are servants of Rome. Even when Rome errs, we obey. But if Rome falls, it will be because those within the walls betrayed its ideals." On the road to Rome. The journey from the Gaul frontier back to Rome took many weeks. Along the way, the small legion passed through abandoned villages, temples burned to ash. Something unseen seemed to be gnawing at the very heart of the empire. One night, as they camped by the Ligurian coast, a young soldier named Titus heard a haunting voice echoing from the sea. When he stepped out, he saw a woman with raven black hair and eyes like polished obsidian, standing amidst the waves and cold sand. She was not of this world. She looked at Titus and said, "He who stands between loyalty and truth must choose. Your leader, Marcus, is more than a warrior. He is the final link holding Rome's fate together. When he falls, darkness will drown the ports of Tiberias." Titus reported this to Marcus, who fell silent. He began to realize the recent battle was only the beginning. Something greater, something darker was rising, not from outside, but from within Rome itself. Returning to the capital. As they passed through the city gates, the people came out, not to cheer, but to watch in silence. Rumors had already spread that Marcus's men had slaughtered innocents, that they were wolves in the skin of eagles. Marcus was brought to Capitoline Hill, where the Senate awaited. Amid suspicious stares and harsh questions, a familiar figure stepped forward: Consul Gaius Aurelian, a longtime rival of Marcus and now a powerful manipulator within the Senate. Gaius declared, "Marcus Valerius, who wears the eagle's name, but has strayed from Rome's skies. What do you say in defense of the blood spilled beneath your sword?" Marcus stepped forward, pulling from his tunic a tattered banner, the symbol of the Aquila Noctis Legion, stained with blood but still radiant, the eagle clutching a bolt of lightning. He replied, I offer no defense. I only remind you, when Rome no longer holds honor, it is you who will bury her in the earth, not her enemies. That night, Titus found an ancient map in the dungeon where Marcus was held, a map not found in any known records, leading to a place beneath the city where, since the founding of Rome, the Pontifex Maximus had hidden an ancient secret, something that could either save or destroy the entire empire. Part 3. The Dungeon of Fate. The night was pitch black. In the damp dungeon beneath the Capitoline Hill, Marcus Valerius sat against the cold stone wall. He wasn't worried for himself, but for the future, not his own, but that of Rome. Suddenly, the heavy wooden door creaked open. Titus, along with 3 loyal warriors, appeared in silence. They had bribed the guards to rescue him, but not just to free Marcus. There was a deeper mission beneath the heart of Rome, guided by an ancient map they had uncovered. The map was inscribed in Old Etruscan, a language forgotten by all, except the keepers of sacred rites from Rome's founding days. It pointed toward Lapis Profundus, the deep stone, the resting place of the Gate of Janus, the two-faced god of beginnings and ends. Beneath the Roman earth, they followed ancient tunnels stretching from the Temple of Jupiter to a forgotten subterranean level. Damp stone walls and green moss covered monstrous statues. At a dark crossroads, they found a statue of Janus, one face smiling to the future, the other weeping to the past. Marcus reached out and touched the statue's eyes. The ground trembled. A massive black bronze door cracked open, revealing a circular chamber, like an underground colosseum, etched with scripts older than Rome itself. At the center stood a stone pedestal. Upon it, an iron laurel wreath and a goatskin scroll protected by 7 daggers plunged around it. Titus read the inscription with a trembling voice. When Rome forgets its true meaning, read the ancient words. He who wears the iron crown, if his heart remains loyal, shall see the truth. If not, darkness shall devour all glory. Marcus stepped forward and placed his hand upon the pedestal. The daggers retracted. As he grasped the scroll, a vivid vision flashed before him. A future Rome, its streets in ruins, pillars crumbled, its people wandering hungry and lost, not from enemies beyond its walls, but from within, power, ambition, betrayal by its own. On Palatine Hill, a shadowy figure in a purple cloak, wearing a black laurel crown, laughed amidst the flames. Marcus collapsed, blood trickling from his nose, but he had seen what he needed to see. The one destroying Rome does not come from the borders. It is Consul Gaius Aurelian, who made a pact with an ancient force. Rebellion in the darkness. Marcus and his warriors could not return the way they came. The gate had collapsed. They pressed deeper through forgotten tunnels leading to a ruined temple of Saturnus, god of time and upheaval. There they met a blind man in Etruscan priest robes. He called himself Custos Umbrae, the Shadow Keeper. He said, Marcus, you are the last eagle who carries the light, but to save Rome, you must choose. Stay loyal to a decaying empire, or destroy it to rebuild it from ashes. Marcus looked around. His warriors awaited his choice. This was no longer a mere uprising. It was a war between light and shadow, between the true legacy of Rome and a lie dressed in glory.